So, Vance, let's touch on that. The pension rebalancing. A number of people have brought that up. Fundstrat, Tom Lee, another person saying that may have been a reason for the balance yesterday. About $41 billion in equity buying as part of those pension rebalancing. Do you think that was the reason for the bounce? Because it seemed the timing a bit odd going into Tariff Wednesday tomorrow with the president calls Liberation Day.
I think it had a large part to do with it. You know, Frank, we're about 30% in cash right now. The trend's down. I think that was kind of an anomaly, and I think that was a big impact on the market, you know, because it really sold off hard. There was no buyers at the beginning of the morning and then just started to march up throughout the course of the day. And that clearly is coming from that pension buy. So I don't know if the average investor is coming in back into this market yet. I'd be very, very cautious.
So you're saying you don't want the average investors coming into the market. What about when we're talking about the Mag 7? We had our Pippa Stevens on the show yesterday talking about what retail investors are doing. They seem to be buying the dip there. Do you see opportunities in the Mag 7?
I see opportunities in the Mag 7, but I think there's a lot of great opportunities. You know, this market's beating the devil out of a lot of people. I mean, you can look at Microsoft, Google, you can look at different companies in the Mag 7. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to be had. I would be a little bit patient, though. I still think there may be some more downside to be had. So I would be a little bit cautious here. And I would definitely be nimble. If you're able to get a really nice profit in something, you may want to try to take some money off the table.
All right, speaking of profits, are you worried about tariffs and earnings season? You gave us some data that just under about 20% of there was a 20% rise, almost 20% rise in foreign profits in Q4. Are you worried that dynamic changes a bit in Q1 and going forward and could impact earnings estimates?
I'm really positive on earnings. I'm positive on a lot of things, but I tell you what, until Trump clears up this tariff issue, I mean, we have so many unknowns. He's supposed to be announcing things tomorrow. I think so that's what's causing so much volatility is nobody knows what he's going to do. I mean, is it going to be 10%, 20, 30? Nobody knows.
Okay.
And he hasn't really given us an end game either. So, I mean, what's the end game? Where do you want to get at the end of the day with this? And how do you want it to be structured to help our economy? But I think until we get that out of the way, I think there's some tremendous headwinds in this market going forward.
All right, but that's fair points. But you're being a bit contradictory, Vance. I mean, you're saying you're positive, but you're also bringing up the profit growth from outside the U.S. sources. So are you worried that that's going to be less this quarter? Are you worried it's going to turn negative? I mean, why are you even bringing it up if you're positive, if it's not a big deal?
Well, earnings continue to grow. I think that we've got a robust economy. I think we've got a tremendous amount of cash on the sidelines. I think people are making good money. A lot of people are employed. But here's the thing with the tariffs. Until we know what he wants to do, it's a huge unknown. It's really putting a real hindrance on this market, and it's keeping investors from coming back in. I mean, I'm talking to investors every day. Says, well, I'd just rather sit on my cash until we see what tariffs are going to do. And I get that. So, yeah, I am kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth. But the point is, earnings are good. Companies are doing great. But how are the tariffs going to affect us? And until he gives us an end game to this, I think that's a real cap on the market for the time being.
All right. You also gave us 3 stocks to watch: J.P. Morgan, Spotify, and also Stride. Are these stocks you would buy right now in this current environment, knowing that tariffs are coming up tomorrow and even Thursday when it comes to autos?
I think you need to get your buy list out, Frank, because I think these are 3 really quality stocks. I think they're going to do very, very well. If you're looking at buying stocks today, find stocks like Spotify or Stride or J.P. Morgan that have held up well in this onslaught of selling that we've had over the past, 4 to 5 to 6 weeks. And I think you want to look at stuff that's holding up really, really strong, because I think that they're going to do very, very well if we get some clear direction on where tariffs are going.
All right. One other thing I want to talk to you about, Vance, before we go, it has to be quick, though. What do you make of Larry Fink's comments about protectionism and impacting the global economy? I think it goes back to some of your thoughts on profits from foreign sources. Are you worried that we might be headed towards a recession or at least a very significant economic slowdown that could unwind even some of your theses?
I think that's a real good point there. And I think, again, it goes back to my point of why this market's not moving higher is that people have all these unknowns. They don't know how to game the market right now because they don't know how impact's going to affect our international partners or our domestic partners or anybody else. So it's just until we get this off the table, I would be incredibly cautious. I would sit on a lot of cash. The trend has been broken. It's under the 200-day moving average. So I'd be very, very cautious. That's telling us that there's more sellers than buyers. And just be patient with it. Let's see what happens on Wednesday. I'll be in D.C. on Wednesday, so I'll have a front row seat.
Yeah.
I'll be in town.
Vance, I'm going to call you a conflicted optimist after this.
And I think that's a great way to put it.
Vance
I am
Howard.
conflicted.